What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So, I haven't worked a 9-to-5 job like ever. Except for one point when I was 19 years of age. About a 8 or 9 month period. I probably worked like 8 to 5 or something like that. It wasn't technically full-time. And I was still living with my parents at the time. But I just knew at that point, even before that, that was just not what I wanted to do. I think I saw my parents working hard as they would growing up. And they had 4 children. Two of which were adopted. So with that being said, by straight up intent, they just kind of had a rather large family, 4 children, and they had to work a lot for it constantly. It seemed like a lot of responsibility. Saw my dad get up, go to work every day, come home. Just seemed stressful, It seemed very stressful. So I always thought, I was like, there's got to be a better way. I was like, I just need to do a couple things right. Like, I need to act on what I have observed. And I would observe people being really bad with their money, I think. They'd go on these vacations and stuff, and they'd buy these big expensive vehicles. And I ask, like, how much is that? And they're like, oh, it's $39,000 in those days. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I'd see people driving around like these old cars, and I'd be like, how much are those? I'd be like, oh, you get those for like $1,000. I was like, huh. I was like, I wonder if you could get like a reliable one of those. Then you wouldn't have to get the $40,000. How do you get that? And they're like, well, you owe money on it, and it compiles with interest as you pay. It just sounds crazy. When I turned 19, my dad actually offered to buy me a new car, and I test drove the thing around. It was a Chevy. What are those cars called? Malibu? It was a Chevy Malibu. Probably a good idea I didn't buy that, right? Well, he was going to pay for it. But I said no. I was like, I was driving the thing. I was like, I don't need this. I was like, what's wrong with my Subaru? That was like 8 or 9 years old at the time, which is pretty new compared to what I drive now. Right now I have a Toyota 4Runner and a Toyota Sequoia 2005s. They drive like new. V8s and all that. Nice transmission. Buy Toyota, but don't spread the word too much, otherwise that used market is going to get bought up. Buy the Toyotas. But nonetheless, I mean, Subaru's okay too, but it's not as good as Toyota, neither is Honda. But I recognize that, and I was like, what's wrong with this car that I'm driving? Like, we don't owe any money on this thing, right? It's like this thing we bought for like $2,000. This Subaru, and it drives just fine. But I made some bad choices. I was like, I want to go to California, is what I thought. I was like, I want to go be an actor, right? I want to go be an actor out there. I actually did some extra work. But I mean, nonetheless, yeah, I went out there for a year and a half. But my mistake was I went to school out there. So I took out a big student loan, put myself about $25,000 in debt, go to a year and a half of school or something, so I could be near Hollywood, right? It was a bad decision. And I made it at 20 years old. I was out there, saw Hollywood. I did a couple of extra jobs and all that, but I met a lady back up here. I was speaking to on the internet that I knew previously, this and that. Don't need to get into those details, but I think I was looking for a way out of there. I saw the film The Wrestler when I was out there with Mickey Rourke, and it was just so depressing. Just trying to be an entertainer. Guy was living in some trailer. He was like 50 years old. Trying to be some entertainer, right? It's just really depressing. And I was like, this is going to be me, isn't it? It's like, that's going to suck. And then with the incentive, I could go back to where I'm from and be with the lady, this and that. It was nice. And I remember the cost of living was cheap. You know, in Michigan is where I'm from. Like, I could go back to Michigan, is what I thought to myself. It's like the cost of living. Because California is extremely expensive. It's gotten exponentially worse since I left, obviously. So I went back to Michigan, which is a trick of this trade, I think. Affordable living, and perhaps affordable living states. You know what I mean? Michigan's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Of course, depending on where you live in the state, it's going to change how expensive it is and this and that. But that's what I did. And then I worked at some electronics retailer. Never wanted a full-time job. 40 hours a week was always just terrifying to me. The idea of 40 hours a week and being committed to that for like the rest of your life just scared me. It's like, my God, I'd rather like live in the woods or something. It's like I'd rather just be homeless or something. It must have been what I thought, but I didn't really have to go there because somehow I knew that I wasn't going to have to do it as long as I had some ducks in a row. You know, I mean, this might be a sad line of ducks, but one of the ducks was I had to live cheap, not get a credit card no matter what. Right? Not go into debt no matter what with anything. This is after I went to school and I blew that money and I still owed on it. I was like, don't get a new car. I was like, be cheap. Don't go out to eat all the time. Buy tuna fish, buy bananas, you know, buy stuff from the grocery store and make it at home. Find affordable living. And I hate to say it, but I was also thinking, don't have kids. You know? Not at that time, anyway. Because, I mean, I was like in my mid-20s at this point. And a lot of my old buddies from school had kids, and they were paying child support, you know. They left lady left them, whatever. And I was like, shit, he's in the rat race for a long time now. But that's kind of what I did. But not to bore you guys with this whole story, basically, here I am now. What happened? Well, I haven't worked a job since 2011. And that was the electronics retailer. And that was part-time. I worked about 30, 35 hours a week. I started getting upset when they would schedule me 35 hours. Like, what the hell are you doing? I don't want to work 35 hours. But I haven't worked a job since 2011. A real job. So now it's 2024. So that is... That's 13 years. That's 13 years. And I do have a house. All right. I bought it in 2013 or something. This was after I left the job, you know. I was already working on my own for a couple of years. But it was an affordable house because the market was right at the time. Just gained a lot of equity since then. And I did get a 30-year mortgage. So I was like, I just want this is the only debt I'm ever going to inquire, is what I said to myself when I bought this house. And I've lived up to it as well. And I don't intend to ever change that. Hell no. If I can help it. It's like, this is going to be the only debt I ever acquire. So I'm going to get a 30-year. And I know it's arguable whether or not that's a good idea. You know, many would say, we'll get a 15-year and pay it off as soon as possible. But I can write off a lot of my house as a business expense. So if I pay off this damn house, I can't write it off as a business expense anymore. All right? There's office right here. A lot of the house has inventory. It's used for business. That's what this damn house is. But nonetheless, that's what I did, and became a hustler. All right, hustle. Just look on Facebook Marketplace, this and that. There's stuff you could do. You know, you could sell stuff as well. And I have a couple of YouTube channels. I have patrons. I have members. Blessings to my patrons and members. If you want to become a patron, click the link in the description below. And blessings to all my patrons. Thank you guys. You guys make these videos possible. But I became a hustler. So I have a house. I have a dog, a German Shepherd. I have a wife of like, I don't know, been married for like 8 years or something. And I was with her for like 2 years before that. She's a great lady. That's, I mean, obviously that's a huge thing, is who you marry or who you're with. You gotta make sure that, well, that's going to be very dependent on how, you know, your future is. I don't know if you gotta make sure. I don't really know if that's how it works, you know, but I got very fortunate in the lady that I found, where, you know, she doesn't want to go spendy all over the place, you know. She's very frugal like me. But, yeah, basically live beneath your means to a great extent is what I do. Just to be happy in being able to dwell, you know. Go to parks, go to walk at the parks, enjoy that. And we rarely go out to eat. We don't go to like big nasty cities and stuff, you know, don't do any of that. We drive a couple hours to visit parents occasionally. But that's like the most we do, you know. I mean, we could go on vacation if we wanted to. We did go to California not too long ago to visit some friends. But, yeah, the 9 to 5, what do you guys think about it? Do you have to do that? I just remember, you gotta not inquire any debt. You gotta not have all those subscriptions. I mean, they're all just a waste of time anyway, but admittedly, I do have Amazon Prime right now. A lot of it is business expenses, but I mean, I got Amazon Prime, where, I mean, the stuff just got, you know, I just need duct tape, I need light bulbs, things like that. Tools occasionally. But yeah, what are the tricks? Let me know. I'm going to make more videos on this if you guys are interested in the topic. Alright, I just kind of wanted to give you a rundown of my story. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And, sometimes I just get so lost in it, like we forget what day it is. You know, we don't even know what day it is. Like, what day is it again? And it's very nice. Once I even went and got a part-time job, because I was like, I just need to be around people. So I go and work as a part-time job, but I always feel bad quitting, right? So I was like, I just want to work like 2 days a week. Then of course they start trying to schedule me more. I was like, shit. I was like, I can make more being at home. I was like, what am I doing here? I was getting paid like minimum wage or something. This was in 2016. So I did that just for a couple months and barely made any money. But then I didn't really want to quit. You know, I felt bad, and I just don't like doing that to people. So I toughed it out for a few months. But yeah, because you kind of forget what you have when you're not in that grind, when you're not in that situation where you have to get up and be there at X time, or you're going to get fired or something, or your boss is like going to tell you this or that, you know. I never liked the boss idea. My last couple were fine, but I did have one in the last real job that I had in retail in 2011. I thought he was a real asshole. So I pretty much wrote to the management and I was just going to quit. And I went off on him once a little bit because I just didn't care. I didn't need the money. You know, I was kind of I was doing okay, and I was already starting to be a hustler on the side. And then they said, well, here, we can't give you a raise technically, but we can move you to a different department, and then you could get a raise. So that's what I did for just a couple weeks. I was like, I'm getting out of here. But let me know what your thoughts are on that. If you guys want more videos like this, all right? I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace be with you.